Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Eastrose Fellowship, Unitarian Universalist, everyone online and also here in the chapel. Welcome to first-time visitors. We're very glad you're here. I'm Cynthia Hopkins, and I'll be your worship leader this morning. Our minister, Reverend Landerman Zucker, explores our responsibility to protect our Indigenous and immigrant neighbors and what we mean when we say American. Certainly a timely topic, given what we are experiencing right now here in Portland. Eastrose Fellowship sits on the occupied territory of the Clackamas Chinook people, who were forcibly displaced from this land to the Grand Ronde Reservation in 1855. We acknowledge the sacrifices endured by the ancestors of this land, and that our presence here today is only possible because of the injustices committed against them. We recognize the inherent sovereignty of the Chinook Nation and Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, who carry on the traditions, history, and legacy held by their ancestors from time immemorial to this very day. We seek meaningful relationships with these communities that foster repair. Let's take a moment now and greet each other here today. I'd like you to all please stand up, turn and face the cameras that are by the clock, and wave hello to our neighbors and friends online. And then turn to your neighbors seated near you and say hello. For our online guests, we're working with a different microphone today. For our online guests, if you'd like to share a joy or sorrow during that portion of the service, please enter it in the YouTube chat, and those will be shared aloud with everyone. I also acknowledge you to identify yourself in the chat if you're online, so we may better acknowledge your presence with us here today. Our call to worship today is Earth Teach Me, from the Ute Indians of North America. Words on the screen, I will read those in yellow, you the words in white. Earth, teach me stillness as the grasses are stilled with light. Earth, teach me suffering as old stones suffer with memory. Earth, teach me caring as parents who secure their young.
Earth, teach me courage as the tree which stands all alone.
Earth, teach me limitation as the ant which crawls on the ground.
Earth, teach me freedom as the eagle which soars in the sky.
Earth, teach me resignation as the leaves which die in the fall.
Earth, teach me regeneration as the seed which rises in the spring.
Earth, teach me to forget myself as melted snow forgets its life.
Earth, teach me to remember kindness as dry fields weep with rain.
May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you. Our opening words today is a poem by T.C. Cannon, who is a member of the Pueblo Nation, and it's from his book, My Determined I. It's called John American Horse. My grandfather said to arise and start a rumbling through the land. My grandfather told me to thrust my lance into the arm of America. He is colored red. Color him the colors of the earth, for his head is the sun and his feet are the moon. His body is not asphalt, but buffalo grass. His sustenance is truth in believing, and his air is without ghost-like limping sirens. Down the street, sirens creep and haunt the city's red people. In dark neon shadows, they creep without coo or feathers. Without song and celebration, they creep with hearse and flashlights. These sirens and siren drivers who have never seen satisfaction in justice. I am John American Horse, RA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Vietnam veteran, exclusive with a mouth of blood and a hungry lance. Our opening hymn is number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. Please rise as you are willing and able.
Good morning, welcome. Today's story is called Stolen Words, written by Melanie Florence and illustrated by Gabrielle Grimard. It's about a grandfather who had his native language, Cree, taken from him at a Native American boarding school. These schools, which operated in the US and Canada for over 150 years, forcibly separated Indigenous children from their families to cut all ties to their heritage and assimilate them into European American culture. The children were forbidden to speak their own languages, practice their own religions, or wear their own hairstyles and clothing. They were even given new English names. The residential schools caused a great deal of trauma across generations of Native Americans, and the healing continues to this day. This is Stolen Words. She came home from school today, skipping and dancing, humming a song under her breath, clutching a dream catcher she had made from odds and ends, bits of string, plastic beads, and brightly colored feathers. Her glossy braids danced against her shoulders, swaying with her, black as a raven's wing. "Grandpa," she asked, clutching his hand, spinning under his arm before dropping it again, "how do you say grandfather in Cree?" He stopped breathing for a moment, a lifetime to a 7-year-old. He looked down at her sadly. "I don't remember," he answered. "I lost my words a long time ago." A frown clouded her face. "How do you lose words, Grandpa?" she asked. "They took them away," he answered. She thought for a moment. "Where did they take them?" she asked. "Where they took all of us," he said, "away from home, away from laughter and soft words, away from our mothers who cried for us." She reached for his gnarled hand. "Who took you away, Grandpa?" she asked quietly. "Men and women dressed in black, talking to us with words we did not know," he answered. They reached home and sat on the stairs together. "Where did they take you, Grandpa?" she asked. "Away to a school that was cold and lonely, where angry white faces raised their voices and their hands when we used our words," he answered. "They took our words and locked them away, punished us until we forgot them, until we sounded like them. Harsh, sharp words, so different from the sound of our beautiful ones." She touched his weathered face, tried to wipe the sadness away with her soft hands. She looked down at her lap and handed him the dream catcher that she had made for her room. "You take this, Grandpa," she said. "Maybe it will help you find your words again." He smiled at her, his granddaughter, and touched her innocent face, a face that had never known harsh words or raised hands. He smiled and kissed her head. The next day, she skipped out of school again, smiling widely at her grandfather. She stopped in front of him and took a deep breath. "Tanse nimusum," she said. His eyes widened. She smiled brighter than the sun. "I found your words, Grandpa," she said. She pulled a tattered, well-worn paperback out of her book bag. "Introduction to Cree," it said. "My teacher helped me find this for you at the library." He reached for it, his hands shaking. Opened it, feeling the soft, much-loved pages under his fingers. "Nosum," he whispered, "granddaughter." The word felt familiar in his mouth. It felt like his home, his mother. He turned the pages of the book carefully. "Musinaigan," book. He turned another, word after word. "Pikiskwewin," language. His words, pages and pages of them. He looked at his granddaughter, his nosum. "Thank you, Teenki," he said. "Will you read to me?" she asked, taking his hand in hers and leading him home. "Will you teach me your words?" His heart danced as he nodded, holding the book against his chest. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm and promote the inherent dignity and worth of every person. Thank you for listening to this story today, and now we'll say goodbye to Reverend Robin and the adults and head back to RE. If the adults along the center aisle will form a bridge, we'll sing the children out.
I invite you now into some quiet time together. You put your feet on the floor, uncross your arms, drop your shoulders, close your eyes and take a big, deep breath. Big exhale. Do that a couple times before we start. Relax your face, your forehead, the space around your eyes, especially your jaw. Move down and again, see if your shoulders are up and drop them. Rest your hands in your lap. And then begin your rhythmic breathing. 4 beats in through your nose, slowly. 5 or 6 beats out through your mouth, slowly, in a comfortable rhythm, creating spaciousness and peace within you. We'll just breathe. While you continue your breathing, I offer this prayer by the Reverend Marjorie Bowens Wheatley. Our spirit's healing temple is someone else's available and understanding heart. And so we pray that there will be those who offer a listening ear, a healing touch. We pray that there will be those who will not shrink from our untidy suffering. For it is through the support of these souls that we might find a balm, salve, and begin to heal our pain. We pray for strength, for a few more morsels of faith, a few more nuggets of time when we can empty our minds of it all, and little spaces in our days and nights when we can touch another soul and be held in someone else's embrace. Help us to find the hope that lies beneath what our eyes can see and our ears can hear. Help us to hold fast to the belief that there is still goodness in this world. Help us to respond out of love rather than out of fear, to sit face to face in a widening circle of connection. Help us to trust again, knowing that the arc of the moral universe is long and that indeed it bends towards justice. Mend once again our brokenness and guide us on a path toward peace. Blessed be, Namaste, Salam, Ashe, Shalom, and as they say in Navajo, Hosho. Amen. Oh, another deep exhale, just a real release. Our spirit song is number 1009 in the Teal Hymnal, Meditation on Breathing. You'll see it up there as 3 parts, meaning we'll sing it through once. Ayla, can you put that up? Thanks. We'll sing it through once all together, and then if you want to sing the different parts, you certainly can, or you can stay with the melody.
poem today is by Joy Harjo. She was born in Muskogee, Oklahoma. She is a member of the Creek Nation. And Joy Harjo served 3 consecutive terms as Poet Laureate of the United States of America from 2019 to 2022 for calling the spirit back from wandering the earth in its human feet. Put down that bag of potato chips, that white bread, that bottle of pop. Turn off that cell phone, computer, and remote control. Open the door, then close it behind you. Take a breath offered by friendly winds. They travel the earth, gathering essences of plants to clean. Give it back with gratitude. If you sing, it will give your spirit lift to fly to the stars' ears and back. Acknowledge this earth who has cared for you since you were a dream, planting itself precisely within your parents' desire. Let your moccasin feet take you to the encampment of the guardians who have known you before time, who will be there after time. They sit before the fire that has been there without time. Let the earth stabilize your post-colonial insecure jitters. Be respectful of the small insects, birds, and animal people who accompany you. Ask their forgiveness for the harm we humans have brought down upon them. Don't worry. The heart knows the way, though there may be high-rises, interstates, checkpoints, armed soldiers, massacres, wars, and those who will despise you because they despise themselves. The journey might take you a few hours, a day, a year, a few years, 100, 1,000, or even more. Watch your mind. Without training, it might run away and leave your heart for the immense human feast set by the thieves of time. Do not hold regrets. When you find your way to the circle, to the fire kept burning by the keepers of your soul, you will be welcomed. You must clean yourself with cedar, sage, or other healing plant. Cut the ties you have to failure and shame. Let go of the pain you are holding in your mind, your shoulders, your heart, all the way to your feet. Let go the pain of your ancestors to make way for those who are heading in our direction. Ask for forgiveness. Call upon the help of those who love you. These helpers take many forms: animal, element, bird, angel, saint, stone, or ancestor. Call your spirit back. It may be caught in corners and creases of shame, judgment, and human abuse. You must call in a way that your spirit will want to return. Speak to it as you would to a beloved child. Welcome your spirit back from its wandering. It may return in pieces, in tatters. Gather them together. They will be happy to be found after being lost for so long. Your spirit will need to sleep a while after it is bathed and given clean clothes. Now you can have a party. Invite everyone you know who loves and supports you. Keep room for those who have no place else to go. Make a giveaway, and remember, keep the speeches short. Then you must do this. Help the next person find their way through the dark.
One of the most popular TV series in America over the past decade is called Yellowstone. Have some of you seen it? It's very popular. Now, I've been watching it since the first season, and I describe it as a well-made, beautifully written, and historically sensitive soap opera centered on the largest contingent ranch in America, the fictitious Yellowstone Dutton Ranch, located in Paradise Valley near Bozeman, Montana. Once its popularity was firmly established, and its marketability, I'm sure, the creator, Taylor Sheridan, launched 2 origin stories about the Duttons. The first one is called 1883, and it chronicles the dangerous journey of the original Dutton family from Tennessee to the west on the storied Oregon Trail. Encounters with Native Americans within this series vary. There are the expected raids on wagon trains we've come to see as the only response of Native people to settlers, but this is not accurate. During their embattled trek, the Dutton daughter, Elsa, marries a Cherokee man named Sam, and he renames her Lightning with Yellow Hair. And she promises to come back to him after she goes with the family all the way to Oregon. But as they cross Lakota land, her mother tells her to take off the beaded vest and fringed breeches that Sam has given her, signifying that she is married to a Native man, and this proves to be fatal for her and a deadly mistake. Riding now in her gingham dress, she is shot in the liver with a manure-covered arrow. Her father decides they will ride as far as they can before she nears death, and they have to stop in Montana. There, the Crow people care for them and try to heal Elsa, but she has already developed sepsis. The chief is kind and nonviolent. He directs James along the river towards the Paradise Valley and tells him, "You may live on your land for 7 generations, and then our people will rise up and take it from you." And James responds, "In 7 generations, you can have it back." In flashbacks from the modern day series, we do see James aiding the starving Crow tribe by giving them the freedom to hunt on his land, or as you could say, their land, and they do form a peaceful coexistence. 40 years later, we re-meet the Duttons in the second Yellowstone origin story called 1923. The Dutton Empire is now established, and it's a substantial cattle ranch now. James's brother Jacob and his wife Kara have long been in charge of it after the death of James and Margaret. The ranch's battle is with sheep farmers and Gilded Age tycoons who want the land for mineral rights. It's not with the native people. Yet there is a spirited and brave character named Tiona Rainwater. She's a teenage girl being held against her will at one of the re-education schools we heard about in the children's message that's run by Catholic missionaries. She suffers relentless beatings for not complying until she has her moment and she suffocates the Mother Superior. And as she does this, she says in her native language, "I am the land. It is the land that has killed you." And she runs off into the night. The presiding priest, who is just a real sadist, instructs his minions to go after her. God knows why. Just let her go. Be her true self. Return to her people. This is how terrorizing these schools were for decades of Native American youth kidnapped from their reservations. And, I'm rooting for Tiona in the story. The Yellowstone series focuses on the modern-day Duttons, and sure enough, true to the prophecy, the Broken Rock Reservation, which is a fictional stand-in for the Crow Reservation, is led by Tiona's descendant, Chairman Thomas Rainwater. He's a Harvard-educated casino mogul who is determined to take back the Dutton land at any cost. One of the Dutton's sons is married to a Native woman, and she is understandably torn between her reservation community and her husband's family. The modern-day Duttons are also in a pitched battle with a powerful development company to keep them from acquiring land to build a massive resort and an airport on sacred land. There is a Spitfire vegan environmental activist thrown into the mix for good measure. Will the land revert to the tribe after 7 generations? You will have to watch or ask me later to find out how they resolve this meaningful plot line. Throughout Yellowstone, all 3 iterations, we find episodes that include omens and signs, wise wolves, supernatural visions, and other mythical and mystical occurrences. And throughout history, Native Americans tell many stories about how the seizure and colonization of their land has had spiritual and tangible repercussions. My colleague, the Reverend Monica Jacobson, who's now serving as the interim down in Salem, Oregon, she tells this intriguing tale. She says, "A few weeks ago, I received a text from a friend who lives in southeastern Massachusetts, where the colonial legacy of the Pilgrims looms large. The text reads, 'Let me know when you have time for me to tell you about this.' And she includes a picture of a yard sign planted at an intersection reading, 'This way to the famous Legs Monument,' with a little cartoon pilgrim hat. Naturally, I texted back, 'Now is good.'" Monica goes on, "My friend told me that she and her family had gone apple picking with friends, encountered the sign, and decided to see what was there. And then she sent another picture, a stone statue of a person from about the bottom of the rib cage down, with a plaque explaining that this was part of a monument to Miles Standish." Can we see the monument? Okay. Thanks, Ayla. In case you have not lived among people who are strongly focused on the legacy of colonial America, here's a little context. When the Pilgrim expedition set out from England in 1620 and ultimately established a colony on Wampanoag land in what is now Massachusetts, they brought with them Miles Standish, an officer in the English military. Some know his name primarily from the legendary romantic tale of John Alden's courtship with Priscilla, where he is portrayed as a surrogate suitor. Speak for yourself, John Alden. Yet, most notably, he was renowned for what is euphemistically called preemptive action, and more plainly called brutally attacking Indigenous North Americans. While he was seen as a helpful member of Pilgrim communities in many ways, comforting the sick during the first harsh winter, he also disturbed Pilgrim leaders with his habit of intimidation, ambush, and assassination of people in the Pokanoket, Wampanoag, Massachusetts, and Narragansett communities nearby. Colonialism and the memory of the dominant culture being what they are, however, Miles Standish came to be remembered uncritically as a hero by the white communities of southeastern Massachusetts, complete with monuments. There's even a dorm named after him at Boston University. Monica continues, "So having received an image of a monument to Miles Standish's legs, I was intrigued. My friend went on to explain that this statue was struck by lightning out of the clear blue sky. It wasn't even raining. The whole statue was lost for a while, and eventually the legs were rediscovered in a quarry, scorched at the waist. And no one knew where the head of the statue wound up. It remains unknown, and nobody cares." The plaque at the statue specifies that it was struck down and destroyed by a violent lightning bolt, taking his sword, the charter, and his head, known by many Indigenous people of the region then and now as a powerful and significant event. The docent who was there when my friend visited told her that Wampanoag people believe it's spiritually significant that the statue was beheaded by lightning, considering that the colonizers regularly beheaded Wampanoag people. I relayed this information to my spouse, Monica tells us, knowing of his long-standing dislike for Miles Standish. And he replied, "We know two things about God. One, an inordinate fondness for beetles. Two, God did not like Miles Standish." The history of the Wampanoag and the colonizers, including this chapter, is not a pretty one, but there really aren't any pretty stories in this genre, are there? Nowhere in America is spared. If we live anywhere in this beleaguered country, we are living on haunted native land. And the storyline of the Yellowstone saga is not far-fetched. Here in Oregon, we are living today on haunted land, especially as it pertains to Native sovereignty and the reparations due to Native people we acknowledge each week with respect in our service. Oregon's history of relations with Black and brown people is extremely grim and horrifying. The presence of white settlers in Oregon as early as 1840 led to a new legal landscape and a progressive series of exclusions and oppressions. In 1843, a provisional government was formed that stated, quote, "Every free male descendant of a white man who has resided in the territory for 6 months would be a citizen," which did enfranchise the sons of white males who had Indian wives. It prohibited slavery, but required all African Americans to leave the territory within 3 years. At the end of those 3 years, Oregon passed an exclusion law making it illegal for any Black person to reside in the state. Ghastly, isn't it? Hundreds of free Blacks had fled the roiling post-Civil War bigotry and rage of the South and the racial riots in the North, but they did not end up in Oregon. They stopped short of our state border because it was prohibited. And in 1844, they added a sick twist that any free Black discovered in Oregon would be whipped and expelled. The Oregon Donation Law, Land Law of 1850, struck a devastating blow to Native American communities. It benefited incoming whites and dispossessed Native people and Hawaiians. I had not been aware that at least 1,000 Indigenous Hawaiians traveled to the Pacific Northwest between 1787 and 1898, working primarily in the fur trade. But they were also brown, foreign, non-white. At the same time, Indian title to land had to be extinguished before it became part of the public domain that could be doled out to white settlers. And a rush of white people followed, forcing Native people from their tribal lands in the Willamette, Rogue, and Umpqua valleys in a series of bloody hunt and destroy forays. This relocated many of them to the Siletz and Grand Ronde reservations. And confined to reservations and suffering the persistent ravages of disease, Native populations spiraled downward. Those are some of the more demoralizing chapters of for the Indigenous population in Oregon, which now numbers approximately 185,000 people in 62 distinct tribes. That's a lot of people. Most now have trust lands they govern and manage, an improvement. But does that count as reparations? As we know, immigration and the designation immigrant is front and center in America right now. Who is an American? Who is entitled to emigrate here and become American? We are known to describe our country as a nation of immigrants. What about Native Americans? They're not immigrants. Are they now considered fair game for ICE and deportation to their reservations? It sounds crazy, right? But it's in the news. In fact, the news stories I've read the past couple weeks are chilling. In her article entitled "The Bitter Irony, ICE Targets Native Americans Using Misguided Profiling," the author Joanne Rose Benavides writes with outrage and disbelief that Native people are being detained in raids based on the deeply rooted racial profiling plaguing our immigration system. She explains, the Navajo Nation, which is the largest in this country, a sovereign territory, has become ground zero for this unconscionable assault on Indigenous rights. At least 15 people have been stopped, questioned, harassed, and detained by federal law enforcement and forced to produce proof of citizenship. The irony and racism in this is palpable. She asks, imagine the fear and humiliation of being treated as an outsider on your ancestral homeland, forced to prove your right to exist in a country built on the land your people have loved, lost, and loved again for generations. These individuals have been traumatized, and the country should be ashamed. In the words of Navajo Nation President Bu Sigrin, these experiences are not mere inconveniences. They are wounds inflicted on the collective psyche of a people who have already endured centuries of displacement and marginalization. As a result, Native tribes have had to issue firm guidance to their members to carry state-issue ID cards, certifications of Indian blood, and tribal registrations at all times, and especially when interacting with federal authorities, including ICE thugs. A group of 15 US senators have submitted a joint letter to the Department of Homeland Security urging them to suspend illegal enforcement of operations on tribal lands. As we honor Indigenous people tomorrow, the official Indigenous Peoples Day, but every day, and grapple with this shameful reality, we must ask ourselves, what does it say about our nation's leaders when the original stewards of this land are treated with suspicion and hostility? Where is the freedom and justice we claim to embody as a nation, even under the influence of this corrupt and cruel regime? Can we fight for it? Will we stand in solidarity with all Black and brown people here in Oregon and beyond? So much is at stake for all of us. You can use 5 calls to contact your representatives. You can reach out to Black and brown communities in Portland. And please consider joining one of the No Kings marches or rallies next Saturday, October 18th. There will be a very large event in Portland, tens of thousands of people, I believe, with a rally at the Battleship Memorial at noon and a march to follow. It'll be, I think, a 2-mile, I think they said a 2-mile march. You can drop in and drop out at any point. And there's a smaller event planned for Gresham, meeting at City Hall from 10 to 12 a.m. We can embody our UU principles. We can resist. We can stand up to hate, to fascism, and to thugs so that the tyranny against Black and brown people, including our own Indigenous Oregon neighbors, doesn't have a leg to stand on. Blessed be, blessed we, hos ho, and amen. Following closing hymn is number 146, Soon the Day Will Arrive. Let us sing it for what I've spoken of today and also for the hope of peace in the Middle East. You may rise as you are able.
Each week, we take an offering to support this church and to share with a community nonprofit. And our sharing partner through February is Snowcap Community Charities. Eastrose is one of 25 local churches that founded Snowcap in 1967 to address the needs of East Multnomah County residents. They help with food, clothing, personal care items, needs for infants, and dogs and cats. Yes. We look to deepen our partnership with Snowcap over the next month. If you're attending online, you can donate by visiting our website and clicking the donate button or scan the QR code on your screen. If you're here for the first time, let the basket pass you by and you will be our guest. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully received. Please remain seated and sing our song of gratitude. The words will be on the screen. We give thanks.
We give thanks for His precious
We extinguish this flame to remind us love is the center. As we explore and rest, engage and heal, love remains the center. When all we can see is cold ashes, love remains. Thank you, Mary, as always, for the beautiful music. I don't have any announcements that have been turned in, so I'm just going to thank everyone who was connected in any way with today, putting on today's service. And I'd like to talk about the auction. Did you want to say something, Keen? Well, come on up. I don't think we can go a Sunday without hearing from you, Keen. So. Why don't you come and use the microphone for people who may have hard of hearing? Yeah.
I do tend to get involved. Two things. One is we are starting to rehearse in choir for the Christmas Eve service. We are all brand new with the music, so if somebody wanted to join the choir, now is a great time to do it. So just feel free to come. It'll be tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Here, and we would welcome you in the choir. I was not authorized to say this, but I'm just...
But that never stopped you.
That never stopped me. But it is a good time to do that because we have 10 weeks to put it together and you're all starting equal with the rest of us. So the second thing is, it was mentioned earlier that we were thinking about doing a food drive for Snowcap sometime this fall. I would like to not be up here doing that. So if somebody in the audience, somewhere in the chapel here, if somebody somewhere would like to head that up, I would be glad to work with them. I would be glad to, help facilitate whatever I can. But I'd like somebody else to be the lead person on that. So if there's somebody that would like to have a project that gets them involved in the church, and involvement is the key to happiness on the long-term basis. So.
Thanks, Keen.
Years ago, I had a birthday party at my house. It was one of the big birthdays. And I thought, because I had been volunteering at Snowcap at that time, and I said, could you bring a barrel to my house? And I asked my friends who were coming to the party, just bring a donation for Snowcap. We filled that barrel to overflowing. People want to give, and sometimes they just don't know, where can I take it? So if you have a birthday or an anniversary or just a family get-together soon, just make your own little barrel and then bring it in. We've got one out here in the lobby, so, auction notice. This is a hard-working committee of 6. We meet regularly on Zoom because we're all so busy, and we have been overwhelmed with gratitude for all of the donations that have come in. I mean, it's going to be an incredibly fun, interesting auction, and the committee is, laying them out and numbering them and saying, well, this is the minimum bid, and if you want to buy it now, let's make it this much, and so on. And it's like, even the auction committee is going, well, I'm going to bid on that one. Well, I want that one. So, you better get your tickets. Now, Tony, who's on our committee, she's standing there by the back door. This is Tony King, everyone. And she's right outside the door selling tickets. They're starting to take off now. We appreciate cash or checks, but we are working. We do now have PayPal, and we are working to see if we can get an easy way for you to pay for items at the auction electronically, so that you could spend more money, because that's the whole idea of this, is to make a lot of money to help the church and also have a really good time. There's signups out there for bringing food, and I know it's early. You may not decide what you're going to bring until next week. But that'll be perfect. And if there's any leftover food, it's a Saturday at the end. The next day is our potluck, so we'll just bring it in for the potluck. And which was good timing on our part. Yes, and let's see what else. Oh, and we need some volunteers for the event itself. So it's a one-day kind of thing. Keen's going to need a lot of helpers he's leading up the setup and then tear down. So that is going to be quite a little bit of putting all these things out. You can volunteer for food. You can volunteer for a number of different things. There's sign-up sheets out there also for that. So keep that in mind. It's November 1st, Dia de los Muertos. You're going to hear about it ad nauseum for the next several weeks. So just put it on your calendar and come. At 2 to 5:30, yes. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Rev to bless us out.
We will have spirited conversations today after some coffee. And just a reminder that we end coffee at 12:15 so that the people in charge can clean up and not be here late into the afternoon. So please join me now in our unison benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Stay safe and well. Go out in joy. Return in love. Amen. Let's all meet together for coffee.